A very good afternoon, everybody. This is the final day of our presentations. Uh, this is the first season. Semester one students are making their presentations, and fifth day we will have it on history of English literature. This is afternoon session. But before we go into the presentations, let us have an overview of the entire thing that we are doing. So these things are not that you just make some slides and come here and present, just speak and present, but lot many other things also you have to do. For example, let me share a screen. Along with making a presentation, you also have the responsibility of reviewing your own presentations every day and your classmates also, the group in which you are. And we have prepared a rubric, parameters also for that. So you are giving marks 1 to 5 to yourself and your classmates on these parameters. I hope you might have read all the parameters. At least I hope. You might have read or not. That is up to you. But if you have not read it, next time, you can see that this way, if you will read, it will help you improve your performance. If you want to improve your performance, you can read the subject content, organization, mechanics, verbal skills, enthusiasm, non-verbal skills, eye contact, body language, your poise, your non-verbal skills. That all you need to work on. So if you have gone through all these parameters, your performance can surely improve. If not, then still we have many more days to come. This is just the beginning. We will have second semester, third semester, fourth semester. We have 3 more chances to improve our performances. Then also you can read these parameters. I'm giving a reminder because once you will start writing your written assignments, we have also given a link of rubric for written assignments also in Google Classroom, which at least you can overview and see that how you can write a better assignment. So here, when you click on semester one students, you come to this page where you are doing the evaluation of peer and self. And so far, we have received quite good responses. This is how the responses are recorded also. So we have completed 4 papers. And this is how the pie charts are prepared. And not only this, we also get the bar charts of your performance. And this also is open, transparent system. Whenever you submit your evaluation every day, you also get the link. You get a link to see summary of responses. If you tap on that, you will see this summary of responses. Now, today at the end, when everybody has done the evaluation, you can take a screenshot of this so that this can be useful in your digital portfolio. At the end of 4th semester, when you will prepare your digital portfolio, you have to keep a record that how were you evaluated by yourself and your classmates. Then this taking screenshot of this will help you if today after everybody has done, or you save the link this. But this everything is transparent, is open for all. Everybody can see that how you are evaluated. It is not hidden that only teachers can see and you cannot see, but it is open there. And when you see or when you compare, you will see that some students are getting lots of points in 5th parameter. That is good performance. Some are getting lesser. So that means that you need to improve. If you see Maya, Shivangi, both are in this group. So you can see that you need to improve. You need to see that the pillar of 0.5 should be higher, than the other parameters. That is, so we can say that your evaluation also is very good collectively when you give. So you are giving a very good judgment on the performance of the students also. But if you observe everything, you learn lot many things from this also. That where do you stand within your group and the entire class also. You cannot see what is happening in morning. You cannot see what is happening in afternoon unless you watch live streaming. You can while watching the live streaming, but we know that we are not that highly sincere people that They will see what other people are doing. But everything is open and in public domain. Anybody who has any doubt, if anybody's parents, if any students or parents have a doubt that teachers are biased, and so some people are given more marks than the others, then we keep everything in transparent mode. Anybody's parents can watch it and compare the performance of their children with the other classmates, and see how the things are done also. So that is the very idea of keeping things transparent. Everybody can see everybody's performance, that how you have done. So that is maintained in performance, in assignments, when you write blogs, when you do thinking activities, everything is in public domain. It is not hidden in the files of teacher's cupboard that nobody can see those things. So that way, anybody has any doubt that who is performing better, whether there is really a quality in the student who is getting better marks, anybody can see the performances. That is the very purpose. So this way, peer and self-evaluation happens here. You all are submitting your work in Google Classroom. Yeah, this is the Google Classroom, and this significant because it reminds us that only this many students were active for Teachers' Day. The others were not active. So that also is very disturbing that master's students are not interested in participating in the activities carried out in department. Otherwise, the photograph might be there. Now, you cannot tell that I am telling a lie. That's why we keep on taking photographs. So we can show that are you in photo? It means you are doing some work. You are active. If you are not in photo, you are inactive. Anytime, if you complain to your homes and your parents come and talk with us, we can show everything. That this is how the other students are doing. This is how your kids are doing. Now you yourself can make a judgment whether your kids are right or what is the thing there. So this photograph will speak that only this many students actively participated in Teachers' Day. Anybody from this group? One, only one from this group is there. We want to see that next year we should not have this kind of scenes where there are many students who are not participating in the activities like Teachers' Day or any other things also. Because as I have told you that you are the leaders of next year. And if leaders are lazy, then the followers will be laziest. If leaders are lazy, then followers will be 10 times lazier than the leaders. This. So this today we will take another group photo because in this batch we are seeing that normally you all are not coming to the classes or not staying. કોઈ સવારે આવે તો સાંજે ન જોવા મળે. સાંજે હોય તો સવારે ન હોય. Out of 55, we have hardly seen 20-25 students in the class throughout the semester. Throughout the semester. And it is good that 20 left out of 55. 20 is left now. We are only 34 only now. We are 34 only. And we want to say that this 34 continues every day throughout the day in the class. If they cannot, they can also leave. But those who remain in the department, they should maintain their attendance throughout the things also. So if you want to take one group photo of the entire class, it was nearly impossible in last semester. Nearly. We take lot many photographs with so many activities, guests, speakers who come. But you will see that we were never able to see that everybody from your class were present for a group photo, large number. So we are taking that opportunity today. That today we will take a group photo so that in semester 2 Google Classroom, we can have a photo of everybody. We can have a photo of everybody in semester 2 Google Classroom. This time we are not able to have everybody actively participating in the events. Okay, so you are submitting your assignments here, your presentations you are submitting here. And in Google Classroom, there is teacher evaluation. And teacher is evaluating on a parameters, set parameters, which are also open to you. It is again not hidden. It is not hidden. So Is teacher biased? And teacher likes some students, so gives more marks, and dislikes other students, so gives less mark. It is not so. That it is, the system is open. So you yourself can see where you are given the marks. Have you done good in that part or not? And you can always inquire back also that why I am given less mark, even though I have performed better in a given parameter. And the parameter is descriptive. So it describes the thing that student has done so and so thing. So these points are there. So it is not only numerical 1, 2, 3, 4, but it is descriptive. It describes what students have done. So on this parameter, on this rubric, teachers evaluation happens. So our presentations have threefold evaluation. Threefold. One, teachers evaluation on rubric. Second, peer evaluation, and third, self evaluation. On three parameters, we keep on doing the evaluation of our presentation. So presentations are not simple presentations. Many times students tell us that I will come, I will give my presentation, and then I will go. I have a bus to catch. So we tell that it is not like that. This system of our presentations is not like that, that you come, you speak for 10 minutes and then you go. You have to do lot many things here. In and around, there are variety of things that you have to carry on, and in doing everything, variety of skills are enhanced. Your digital skills, your sincerity, you have to listen things carefully, you have to ask questions. Everything is very important. You have to frame question, you have to see, are you able to write correct interrogative sentence or not? Are you able to ask qualitative question or not? So many things we are learning as a part of presentation. So presentation is not I come, I present, I go. But I have to sit, I have to listen, I have to ask questions also. We always allow more questions also, but normally students don't have a habit of asking questions. We have seen over time that you tell them that anybody can ask questions, then nobody is asking the questions. So we make it compulsory for 2 students. Compulsory for 2 that you have to ask. એટલે આપણને ન ગમે તો પ્રશ્ન તો પૂછવાનો, નહીં તો આપણે પ્રશ્ન ક્યારેય પૂછીએ જ નહીં. આપણને એવી ક્યારેય સ્કૂલમાં આદત થઈ જ નથી કે પ્રશ્ન પૂછવાના હોય. જ્ઞાનની શરૂઆત પ્રશ્ન પૂછવાથી થાય, પણ એ આદત આપણને ક્યારેય કોઈ સ્કૂલમાં પાડી ન હોય. એટલે આપણે ફરીથી શીખીએ કે ask questions and you have to do that. And then we learn a lot many things about asking questions, framing questions, correctness of question, and many other things also. And you are submitting your things in this Google Classroom also. And we are doing live streaming of everything through StreamYard. So digital skilling also, that someday if you have to do live streaming somewhere in another environment, then you are ready to raise your hand and tell people that I can do it. And how? This way we can, because we have seen these things happening in our department, so we know how to do it. Everybody should be able to do that, not 1 or 2 only. Everybody should have that capacity, that how this is happening, because this is just a matter of curiosity. If you are curious, you can know it. If you are not curious, you cannot know it. So if you are curious to learn, things are here, very open. Again, nobody is hiding anything anywhere. કોઈ લેપટોપ કે StreamYard તિજોરીમાં મૂકીને જતું નથી કે આની ચાવી મારી પાસે નથી, આ તિજોરી ખોલવી કેમ, આ તો અમુક 2-5 વિદ્યાર્થીને જ આપ્યું છે તિજોરીની ચાવી, અમને તો તિજોરીની ચાવી મળતી નથી, અમારે તો ખોલવું કેમ? Nothing like that. This is the era of digital, where everything is open, everything is available for everybody, whether you live in a very remote village or in a big city. It doesn't matter. Whether you are here or there, things are open for everybody. So through StreamYard, live streaming happens, and then we document all your things on this website also. Students webinars, which from Corona times we started doing, and we realized that Corona was really blessing for us. It gave us new ideas to work, and we continued with the new things that we got from Corona. Most of the people, most of the teachers, most of the institutes, they wind up everything and put it. Now there is no Corona, no online, no gadget, nothing. But we continued because it was beneficial to us. It was saving our time. So we continued. But you can see here, digital portfolio presentation of last 3 batches, PhD students, and their presentations are also here. From 2019, we started putting things here. And your batch is here, 2023-25, your batch. And once you click on semester 1, you come to this page where all your presentations are made available. So whenever you want to watch your presentations, at one place we have put, so that you don't have to search in YouTube or any other place, but directly from this one page you can have a look at your presentations whenever you want to watch it. So we are going with this one live. This is the live going on right now, and this is coming after 2 hours. Today evening is also scheduled here. So all 5 days, all the presentations are documented at one place. And I hope you are also learning that you have to document everything. Whatever you do, you should be interested in seeing that I should have a couple of photographs of myself making presentation. So if someday I want to talk when I am Dada Dadi, Nana Nani, and I want to talk with the small kids that how we were making presentations in our class, I have something to show. આટલું લાંબુ પ્લાનિંગ હોવું જોઈએ કે આપણે ડોસા ડોસી થાય ત્યારે આપણે કરેલું કામ આપણે કોઈની સાથે શેર કરી શકીએ. એ ક્યારે લોકો કરે જ્યારે એમણે જે કામ કર્યું એમાં ખૂબ મહેનત કરી હોય ત્યારે. મહેનત ન કરી હોય તો આવું ઈચ્છા જ ન થાય. આપણું કામ જ એવું છે કે કોઈને કહેવા જેવું નથી. અહીંયા સીડી ઉતરે એટલે ભૂલી જાવ. આપણું કામ જ એટલું બોગસ હોય કે આમાં ગર્વ કરવા જેવું કાંઈ નથી. આ કેવું કેમ કોઈને? એટલે જેને મહેનત કરી હોય એને ઈચ્છા થાય કે હું મારા કામની વાત કરું, કારણ કે આપણે એમાં મહેનત કરી છે. આમાં આપણે લોહી રેડ્યું છે. જેમાં લોહી રેડ્યું હોય એ વાત આપણને કોકને કરવાની ઈચ્છા થાય જ. આપણને શેર કરવાની ઈચ્છા થાય, ઇન્સ્ટાગ્રામમાં મૂકવાની ઈચ્છા થાય, ફેસબુકમાં મૂકવાની ઈચ્છા થાય. શું કામ થાય? કારણ કે મહેનત કરી છે. મહેનત ન કરી હોય તો સંતાડવું પડે, કારણ કે આપણે બધું ક્યાંકથી સીધું ઉતારી લીધું, ફટાફટ 2-5 સ્લાઇડ બનાવી, જે આવ્યું એ બોલી ગયા, બકી ગયા. આમ તો બોલી પણ ન ગયા હોય, વાત પૂરી કરી હોય તો આપણને શેર કરવાનું મન ન થાય, કોઈની સાથે વાત કરવાની પણ ઈચ્છા નથી. તમે શું કરીને આવ્યા તે ભૂલી જાઓ. હવે જે કર્યું હોય કંઈક ઉલટી જેવું કરીને આવી ગયા, હવે ઉલટી કોણ ચૂથવા જાય પાછી? એવું હોય તો આપણે ક્યારેય જોવાની ઈચ્છા ન થાય. પણ મહેનત કરી હોય પાછળ તો આપણને વારંવાર એ વસ્તુ જોવાની ઈચ્છા થાય કે હવે આપણે જોઈએ આપણે કેમ બોલતા હતા, આપણે કેમ ઊભા હતા, આપણે પ્રશ્ન પૂછતા હતા ત્યારે કેમ ઊભા હતા, જવાબ આપતી વખતે કેમ, બધી ઈચ્છા થાય જો મહેનત પાછળ હોય તો. નહીતર કોઈ જ ઈચ્છા થતી નથી હોતી. We also want to make this comment here along with this, which you can later on refer and document also with this, that in this group we are seeing that not your parents are not getting involved with your presentation. In the semester 3 we had couple of students like Drashti, Avni, Hetal. Their parents were also watching their presentations and also making comments also. They were encouraging them that you have done good work, was done well presented. They were giving comments also. So that involvement of parents also, you can at least tell them. You can tell them કે હવે મારું પ્રેઝન્ટેશન શરૂ થાય છે, આ લિંક છે, જોજો. નહીં જુએ કોઈ, બહુ કઈ ભણવામાં બહુ રસ ન હોય લોકોને એટલે ન જુએ, પણ કદાચ કોઈને રસ પડે તો જુએ પણ ખરા. આપણે ભણવા જઈએ, સ્કૂલમાં જતા ત્યારે કદાચ પેરેન્ટ્સ રસ લેતા હશે કે આ સ્કૂલે જાય ત્યારે ભણે છે કે નહીં, ત્યાં સુધી. તો પછી એ 10મા 12મા સુધી રસ રહ્યો, પછી આપણે ન તો મેડિસિનમાં જઈ શક્યા કે ન એન્જિનિયરિંગમાં જઈ શક્યા. એટલે પછી પેરેન્ટ્સને એમ થયું કે હવે આ હોપલેસનેસ, આમાં કઈ હવે ઉકાળવાનું છે નહીં. આર્ટ્સ કોલેજ જોઈન કરી એટલે પછી એમણે એમને નાઈ નાખ્યું હોય કદાચ આપણા નામ. પછી આપણે હવે શું કરીએ છીએ એની દરકાર ન હોય કદાચ. જો દરકાર હોય તો આજે પણ એ જુએ અને આજે પણ એ તમને એન્કરેજ કરી શકે. એટલીસ્ટ યુ કેન ટ્રાય. આપણે આપણો પ્રયત્ન કરવાનો કે ભાઈ આઈ એમ મેકિંગ અ પ્રેઝન્ટેશન. આપણું ફેમિલી ગ્રુપ હોય હશે તમારા વોટ્સએપમાં, અથવા ફેમિલી મેમ્બર્સ હોય, રિલેટિવ્સ હોય, એ બધા સાથે પણ ઇટ કેન બી શેર્ડ ટુ જસ્ટ ચેક કે ડુ આઈ હેવ અ ફેમિલી બેકગ્રાઉન્ડ હુ આર એકેડેમિશિયન્સ. શું મારી પાસે એવું બેકગ્રાઉન્ડ છે કે જેમાં લોકોને મારી ભણવામાં રસ છે? એ ખ્યાલ આવે. જો હોય તો બહુ સારું. You will be encouraged for the academic purpose. If not, then more frustrations will come. When you will tell them that I want to study, you will not get encouragement. If your people around you, family, neighbors, relatives are not interested in education, then you can say that you will have to struggle more if you want to prove that you are interested in academics or not. That way you can try and you can see there. But I was not able to see anybody's parents. Now, if they are watching silently, then we have to tell them that if you are doing anything, make your presence felt also. Make your presence felt. એટલે આપણે ગઈકાલે છાયા was not able to, પછી she was coming back, એટલે એને કહ્યું કે you are coming, you have to keep on commenting. રસ્તામાં તમે આવતા હો ત્યારે યુટ્યુબમાં જોતું રહેવાનું અને તમે હાજર છો એની કોમેન્ટ મૂકતી રહેવાની કે મેં આ પ્રેઝન્ટેશન જોયું. નહીં તો ખબર કેમ પડે? તમે કહો ના મેં જોયું તો એમ ન ચાલે. એવિડન્સ મૂકવું પડે. that this is the evidence that I was there. So if your parents were watching, then there were no evidence of it. એના કોઈ ફૂટપ્રિન્ટ નથી. ડિજિટલ ફૂટપ્રિન્ટ કઈ રીતે આવે? કોમેન્ટ્સ દ્વારા આવે, લાઈક દ્વારા આવે. એ રીતે કોઈ આવેલો હોય તો આપણે માની શકત કે નો ધીસ પેરેન્ટ્સ આર ધેર. યુ ડુ નોટ એબલ ટુ સી. યુ કેન ઇન્વોલ્વ ધેમ. હજી આપણી પાસે બીજા 3 સેમેસ્ટર બાકી છે. હજી કઈ વસ્તુ પૂરી થઈ નથી. હજી ઘણી બધી તક મળશે, ઘણી બધી ઓપોર્ચ્યુનિટી આવવાની છે. બટ નેક્સ્ટ ટાઈમ આફ્ટર ધેટ ઓલ્સો યુ કેન ટ્રાય. આ બધું જ કરો તોય તમારા પેરેન્ટ્સ ને કે કોઈને રસ ન પડે તોય કોઈ ચિંતા નથી. આપણે ત્યાં સુધી રાહ જોઈએ કે તમે પેરેન્ટ્સ બનશો ત્યારે રસ લેશો. આઈ એમ હોપફુલ ફોર ધેટ સીન કે તમારા પેરેન્ટ્સ આજે રસ ન લે તો કોઈ વાંધો નહીં. આપણે એમાં નિરાશ નથી થઈ જવાનું. આપણો ગોલ તો એ છે કે when you become parents and then you take interest in your children's activities also, and then you say go અમારે તો આવું થતું, તમારે આવું કઈ થાય છે કે નહીં? તમે પ્રેઝન્ટેશન આપો તો મારે જોવા હોય તો કેમ જોવું? તો કે ત્યાં આવવું પડે. કે એવું થોડું હોય. અમારા દિવસોમાં ઘરે આવતું હતું આ બધું. ભલે ઘરે કોઈ જોતા નતા, પણ ગંગા નીકળતી હતી ખરી ઘરેથી. આપણે ભલે ગંગામાં ડૂબકી નતા મારતા, પણ આવતું હતું બધે. ગામે ગામ પહોંચતું હતું. આપણું કામ, અમારું કામ ગામે ગામ જતું હતું. ભલે ત્યારે અમારા માતા પિતાઓને એટલી સમજ નથી કે જોઈએ કે આપણા બાળકો શું કરે છે. કે સાંજે એને સલાહ આપીએ કે આમ નહીં આમ બોલાય, આમ નહીં આ કરાય, આ રીતે સ્લાઇડ સારી બનાવાય, આવી કોઈ સલાહ આપે એવા એ નતા. હવે અમે છીએ, એ બધું કર્યું છે અમે. હવે વી આર હિયર ટુ એડવાઇસ. ઇઝ ધેટ હેપનિંગ વિથ ધેમ ઓર નોટ? કદાચ નહીં થતું હોય તો એમ થશે કે ઓહ તમે તો ક્યાંક અમેરિકામાં ભણીને આવ્યા કે શું? આવું ભારતમાં થોડું થાય. ક્યાંક ફોરેન યુનિવર્સિટીમાં ભણતા હતા કે શું હતું? તો આપણી યુનિવર્સિટીનું મૂલ્ય આપણને ત્યારે સમજાય, અત્યારે ન સમજાય. જયારે આપણે પાસે હોય, જેમ કે ઘર કી મુર્ગી દાલ બરાબર એવું હોય, એમ અત્યારે આપણે જે કરતા હોય એનું મૂલ્ય આપણને ન સમજાય કે વોટ વી આર ડુઈંગ. એન્ડ how many universities throughout the world will be able to do this kind of activity? How many universities throughout the world? We are not talking about Gujarat or India. Throughout the world, how many universities will be able to give such opportunities to students for their performances? That also you can judge. અને માતા પિતા બન્યા પછી પછી દાદા દાદી બનવાનું છે, નાના નાની બનવાનું છે. ત્યારે પણ દોહિત્ર પ્રોપિત્ર સાથે પણ આપણે વાત કરતા હશું. ત્યારે આપણે ઢીંગલા ઢીંગલીની જ નહીં પણ ભણવાની વાતો કરતા હશું. બાર્બી ડોલ કે ઢીંગલો ઢીંગલી કે એવી નહીં, પણ ભણવામાં પુસ્તકની વાત કરતા હશું. કયું પુસ્તક વાંચ્યું, શું કર્યું આજે ક્લાસમાં, કેવા પ્રેઝન્ટેશન્સ કર્યા, એ આપણે પૂછતા હશું. કારણ કે આપણે એ રીતે ગ્રો થયા છે. જે રીતે આપણે મોટા થઈએ એવું આપણે પૂછીએ. ઢીંગલા ઢીંગલી પોતિયા સાથે રમતા રમતા મોટા થાય તો આપણે એ પૂછીએ, અને અભ્યાસ સાથે મોટા થાય તો એ પૂછીએ આપણે. So the way we grow, we ask. So I am hopeful till then. And whatever is the popular social media, આજે ફેસબુક, ઇન્સ્ટાગ્રામ ને એવું છે પોપ્યુલર, ટ્વિટર ને બધું, 50-60 વર્ષ પછી કંઈક બીજું હશે. તો ત્યારે હું તો હોઈશ જ ક્યાં, જીવતો હોઈશ ત્યાં સુધી. જીવતો હોઈશ ત્યાં સુધી. આત્માઓને જો આ લોકો એકાઉન્ટ ખોલવા દેશે તો મારો આત્મા એકાદા સોશિયલ મીડિયાનું એકાઉન્ટ ખોલીને બેઠો હશે. એટલે તમે મને ત્યારે ટેગ કરી શકો. તમે 70-80 વર્ષના થઈ ગયા હો ત્યારે પણ કંઈક સારું આવું થયું હોય ને યાદ આવે કે આવી કોઈક વાત 2023માં અમારા ક્લાસમાં થતી હતી, ચલો સાહેબને ટેગ કરીએ. અને જો ત્યારે કદાચ આર્ટિફિશિયલ ઇન્ટેલિજન્સ રહેવા દે તો મારો આત્મા ક્યાંક સોશિયલ મીડિયા ઉપર હશે. And you can tag me. You can tag me. I will be happy. હું બીજા આત્માઓને કહીશ કે જો આ બધા કરી રહ્યા છે. તો our goal is that farther. કે કદાચ નર્કમાં જાય કે સ્વર્ગમાં જાય કે જ્યાં જાય ત્યાં પણ જોતા રહેશું કે શું થાય છે, લોકો શું કરી રહ્યા છે. સ્વર્ગમાં બેઠા છો ત્યાંથી, નર્કમાં બેઠા ત્યાંથી, ઉપર હશો તો નીચે જોવાનું છે, નીચે હોય તો ઉપર જોવાનું છે. બહુ કઈ ફરક ન પડે સ્વર્ગમાં હો કે નર્કમાં હો. But you will keep an eye on the people, what people are doing. That is our further goal to see. And we hope we will keep on improving in all these things also. Okay, so with this, let us start today's presentations. So today we will have presentations on history of English literature. Afternoon session will start with Vishwa's presentation on restoration drama, followed by Shivangi on Chaucer. Is it correct spelling? Chaucer, Shivangi. Chaucer to Renaissance prose writers. Check the spelling and tell me whether it is. Start checking. અત્યારે તમે ચેકિંગ માં લાગી ગયા હોવા જોઈએ. એમાં રાહ નથી જોવાની. મુહૂર્ત જોવાડીએ, કોઈને બોલાવીએ આપણે ભૂદેવને અને મુહૂર્ત જોઈને આપે કે મારે સ્પેલિંગ ક્યારે જોવાનું, સારું મુહૂર્ત કયું છે, એ તરત જ તમારા હાથ તો એમાં કામે લાગી જ ગયા હોવા જોઈએ કે આ શું છે. લેટ મી ચેક વેરી ક્વિકલી. Maya's presentation on Edmund Spenser as a poet, KUSUM on University Wits. KRISHNA will make it on characteristics of the Restoration Age, JAYSHRI on the Neoclassical Age, reason, writers and influence, SOLANKI on Plantagenet Dynasty, a historical overview, MARUNIYA on drama in the age of Elizabeth, JATIN will make it on the golden age of English literature, the Elizabethan era. HEMALI will make it on Edmund Spenser, poetry, legacy, and critique. DIVYAs will be on characteristic of romantic period literature, problematic characteristics of romantic literature only. That is fine enough. Romantic period literature, no need to say. Characteristics of romantic literature. And ASHAs will be the last one on comparative study of romantic age and Victorian age. In title, as we have suggested, capitalization of keywords. Comparative, C should be capital. Where is ASHA? No. Then age should be capital A for romantic age and Victorian age. So, well, we can say that આપણે 5 દિવસ ટાઇટલ કેમ સાચી રીતે લખવું એની સલાહ આપતા હતા અને 5મા દિવસે આપવી પડી છે. એટલે હજી સુધારો આવ્યો નથી. સવારે પણ 2 વિદ્યાર્થી તો હતા જ એવા કે જેમણે ભૂલ કરી હતી. અત્યારે પણ 2-3 વિદ્યાર્થી તો એવા છે જ કે જે હજી એ ભૂલ કરે છે. વી હોપ કે આપણે એક સેન્ટેન્સ ટાઇટલ સાચી રીતે લખતા થશું કે સેમેસ્ટર 2 માં આવી ટકોર ન કરવી પડે. આ પ્રકારની ટકોર આપણે ન કરવી પડે એ રીતે આપણે સાચી રીતે એ લખશું ટાઇટલ વિથ નો સિમ્પલ મિસ્ટેક્સ ઓર એરર્સ. Yes, Shivangi, have you corrected the title? Where is Shivangi? Not corrected? કે સાચું છે ટાઇટલ છે તમારું? સાચું હોય તો એમને એમ રહેવા દો ને ખોટું હોય તો સુધારો કરો. હા, તો when are you doing? એ બધું 1 મિનિટમાં થઈ જવું જોઈએ. એમાં વાર ન લાગવી જોઈએ. આપણા હાથમાં વસ્તુ છે and very fast you have to do that. These are the habits. આ આદતો નહીં સુધરે ત્યાં સુધી આપણું કામમાં પરફોર્મન્સ નહીં સુધરે અને અમારે ટીકા ટિપ્પણ કરતી જ રહેવી પડશે. અમારે ટોન્ટ મારતા જ રહેવા પડશે કારણ કે આપણી આદત બેઝિકલી બદલવાની વાત છે. આદત બદલાઈ જશે તો બધું કામ પછી સારું જ થશે. જે કોઈ પણ કામ કરશું will be of good quality if habits will change. So we have to work on habits, habit formation. કે એ વસ્તુ છે એ તાત્કાલિક ઓન ધ સ્પોટ થવી જોઈએ. એમાં કોઈ રાહ જોવાની આવે જ નહીં. Yes, have you joined this, Shivangi? Okay, let us start with the first presentation. present. Present?
Yes.
Not coming.
Good afternoon, everyone. I will tell about restoration drama. This is my personal information. Table of content, introduction, restoration drama, trends and conclusion. Introduction. The restoration period of English literature roughly lasts from 1660 and 1688, it beginning with Charles II returning to the throne following the rule of various republican government that rules England from 1649 after Charles I was executed. In English literature, the period from 1660 to 1700 is called the periods of restoration because monarchy was restored in England. It's called Age of Dryden because Dryden was the dominating and most representative literature figure of age. Restoration the drama. This is the picture of Land Theatre, London. Before the Stuart dynasty was restored to the throne of England in 1660, Puritan rules made it very difficult from dramatic of performance. During the time of restoration, 18th century drama was very critical. Much of Elizabeth playwriter blended tragedy and comedy, whereas as the restoration dramatists choose to separate the two Netleton. The drama of these periods can be broken into two categories, comedy and tragedy. Restoration tragedy is classified as hero tragedy. Hero tragedy is a very extraordinary and usually encompasses some extremely good deed done by a very willful and admirable characters. And Afra Ben was a first woman writer in the Restoration age. There are three types of comedy that were popular during the Restoration. These three types are humor, manner, and intrigue. Um, a comedy of humor were made popular by the Renaissance playwright and poet Ben Jonson earlier in the century. This play centralized around the specific characters who had an overshadowing trait. Comedy of manner were the most popular form of a restoration drama. This play would typical mock and upper class and would usually include vulgar and sexually suggestive language. The third and final form of comedy during the restoration is a comedy of intrigue. Trends. This time periods was known as the Commonwealth. During this time, trends in the theatre were very secret and personal. William Dvenant, poet laureate and an accomplished playwright, was forced to present his theoretical activity inside of his one home to avoid the censorship of the public theatre. As time went on, trends began to change in theatre. The Restoration period finally allowed dramatists to divorce all period restraint to their works and create productions that would allow for the emergency of newer and more lively theoretical trends. With the start of restoration and theatre and its presence with the public began to flourish. John Webb, John's son-in-law, carried on the innovations and brought them into the Restoration period, giving theatre a technological advance. Another common threads in theatre during the Restoration period was reinterpretations of older plays. Venant, in particular, took the productions of the past and revised them with his newly established and patent theatre in 1661. Performances such as Hamlet, Macbeth, and The Tempest very heavily revised and altered to apply to the larger audience. Women as well began to make an appearance in theatre with the advent of the restorations. Playwright such as Kliger and Venant began casting female of their productions, and the women would go on to meet with good receptions for the public audience. This audience allowed for sexually suggestive scanners on stage to become even more open and roughly quality that greatly suited the public taste during this time. Conclusion, urged society to see the inappropriate and vulgar reference into the theatre. Different operas are displayed their indications toward theatre, but no attack truly played a role in the decline restoration theatre. The controversy between religion and conservative and dramatist transpired for years. Writer did not seek to reform their work. Instead, they approached the laughter, satire, and ridiculous as way to attack their enemies. This is my reference. Thank you. If anyone has a question.
Vishwa, my question is that what is the basic theme of restoration?
One of the major theme of restoration drama, like marriage and the game of love.
Vishwa, my question is that who was most aptly described by the general tone of restoration drama, comedy of men?
P.B. Shelley was most aptly described by the general tone of restoration drama, comedy of manners. Thank you. P.B. Shelley.
P.B. Shelley. Restoration, right? When was P.B. Shelley born? Restoration happens during which time?
He belongs to actually Roman period.
So there is restoration, there is entire 18th century, 100 years, then Romanticism. So he કદાચ બીજા જન્મમાં હશે પીબી શેલી એમ કહેતા હોય તો ખ્યાલ નહીં કે આગલો જન્મ પીબી શેલીનો ટ્રાઇડન તરીકે હોય અને આપણે ટ્રાઇડન ને પીબી શેલી નામ આપતા હોય કે આપણને એમના દરેક જન્મની ખબર છે. So historical sense we have told openly of the universe.
While discussing history, we were making this point કે પહેલી વસ્તુ છે કે ઐતિહાસિક સમજ હોવી જોઈએ કે કઈ વસ્તુ ક્યારે બની, અંદાજ, એમ નહીં કે એક્ઝેક્ટ તારીખ ખબર હોય. કેમ કે આ થયું હોય તો 17મી સદીમાં થયું, આ તો કે 18મી સદીમાં હોય, એ આછેરો ખ્યાલ હોય તો આવી ભૂલ ન થાય કે રેસ્ટોરેશન ક્યાં આવે, એજ રોમેન્ટિક એજ ક્યાં આવે. તો when we say dates, એટલે એક્ઝેક્ટ ડેટ યાદ રાખવાની જરૂર નથી. જેમ જનરલ નોલેજની પરીક્ષામાં ઇતિહાસમાં પૂછવામાં આવે કે એક્ઝેક્ટ તારીખ, એનું મહત્વ આ જ છે કે જો તમારી પાસે હિસ્ટ્રીનું જ્ઞાન ને સમજ ન હોય તો તમે કદાચ કોઈ વહીવટી જગ્યામાં બેસો તો તમને ખ્યાલ જ ના આવે નિર્ણયો કેમ લેવા. એના માટે એ હિસ્ટ્રી બહુ જરૂરી વસ્તુ, પણ જીવનમાં એક્ઝેક્ટ તારીખ યાદ રાખવી જરૂરી નથી, પણ અંદાજ આવી જાય કે આ વસ્તુ તો કે આ સમયમાં બની હોય, આ અને બંને વચ્ચે 200 વર્ષનો સમય છે. 200 વર્ષ એટલે બહુ મોટો સમય કહેવાય. આપણે 2 કલાકમાં કેટલું બધું બદલાઈ જાય છે. સવારે 8 વાગે શું હોય, બપોરે 12 વાગે શું હોય. આ તો 200 વર્ષનો જે સમય ગાળો આપણે એક સાથે મૂકી દઈએ ને કોઈ રેસ્ટોરેશન નો પ્રશ્ન પૂછે ને સીધું આપણે ચિલ્લર કાઢીએ રોમેન્ટિક ના ખિસ્સામાંથી અને સીધું મારીએ સિક્કો પીબી શૈલી નો કે લો ભાઈ આ લેતા જાવ તમે. તો કે સાચા ખિસ્સામાં તો હાથ નાખો, રેસ્ટોરેશન ના ખિસ્સામાં હાથ નાખીને કાઢો જે હાથમાં આવે. તો 200 વર્ષ 150 વર્ષનો ગેપ વચ્ચે પડી જાય. Congreve, weakerly congreve, Dryden, you can say. Okay? So this very important point to see કે એમને સાવ ઉભડક જવાબ ભૂલમાં ન અપાઈ જાય.
And I am talking about prose writers. These are contents, information about history of English literature, prose writers, writers' name and work, and some reference. History of English literature. The history of English literature is divided into 5 periods: Old Literature, Middle Ages, Renaissance, Neoclassical Age, and 19th century literature, Modern English literature. These are prose writers: Francis Bacon, Richard Hooker, Philip Sidney, John Foxe, Camden, Thomas North. First, I will talk about Francis Bacon. Francis Bacon, first Viscount as Alban, is known as Lord Wellham, was an English philosopher and statesman who served as Attorney General and Lord Chancellor England under King James. Prose style of Francis Bacon used various style rather than depending on one style which he adopted it based on his purpose. Is a man of Renaissance. We find a characteristic of this age. The use of figurative language, similar and metaphors and striking comparisons and found in his essays. These are works. Second, Richard Hooker. Uh, he was an English priest in the Church of England and influential theologian. He was one of the most important English theologians of the 16th century. He He is the apologist of the Elizabethan religious settlement in England. He was a decisively important interpreter of Anglicanism. He traced on the laws of ecclesiastical polity. Also, a classic of English prose was only part published. His sorry. Works of the laws of ecclesiastical polity, learned the discourse of justification. Philip Sidney. Philip Sidney was an English poet, courtier, and scholar and soldier who is remembered as one of the most prominent figures of the Elizabethan age. His work include a sonnet sequence, Astrophel and Stella, a treatise, The Defense of Poesy, and a pastoral romance, The Courtness and Pembroke's Arcadia. Sydney penned several major works of the Elizabethan, including the Astrophela and Stella, the first Elizabethan sonnet cycle, and Arcadia, a heroic prose romance. Uh, his main work was Courtness and Pembroke Arcadia. John Foxe was an English clergyman, theologian, and historian notable for his martyrology acts and monuments telling of Christian and martyrs throughout Western history, but particularly the suffering of English Protestant and Proto-Protestant from the 14th century and in the reign of Mary. His famous work, Book of Martyrs. Uh, these are references, and thank you.
Shivangi, my question is that what is the writing style of Philip Sidney?
Philip Sidney's writing style is different. He wrote about his uh, personal sonnets and imagination sonnets.
Shivangi, what are the
Uh, there are three periods of Chaucer's life. First, the French, second, and Italian, and third one English. Thank you.
There is a spelling error.
Even in your PPT also. So before you upload anywhere, see that the spelling is set. Put the camera slightly down. From top one, from the top part. Side is going out.
दुपट्टों काट दे ये दुपट्टा वाला है
Okay, let it be now. Okay.
Hello everyone, myself Maya Bhatia. My topic is Edmund Spenser as a poet. Introduction. Born London, England, died 13 January 1599, London, England. Edmund Spenser, English poet whose long allegorical poem, The Fairy Queen, is one of the greatest in the English language. It was written in what came to be called the Spenserian stanza. Youth and education. Little is certainly known about Spenser. He was related to a noble Midlands family of Spenser, whose fortunes had been made through shipping rising. His own immediate family was not wealthy. He entered as a poor boy in the merchant tailor's grammar school, where he would have studied minorly Latin with some Hebrew, Greek, and music. From May 1569, Spenser was a student in Pembroke Hall of University of Cambridge. He received a Bachelor of Arts degree in 1573 because of an epidemic. Spenser left Cambridge in 1704, but he received the Master of Arts degree in 1576. Spenser's religious training was a most important part of his education. Yearly works. The Shepherd's calendar can be called the first work of the English literary renaissance. The calendar consists of 12 equiclues, one named after each month of the year. Archaic vocabulary is not so marked as feature of Spenser's later work. In 1518, Spenser was made secretary to the new Lord Deputy of Ireland, Arthur Lord Grey, who was a friend of the Sidney family. Edmund Spenser and Elizabethan portraiture. Edmund Spenser, although his work is largely the preserve of specialists today, is a recognizable future figure from the realms of English literature from the mid-17th century onwards. He is invariably depicted as a man with a roof and a neatly clipped beard, and if so in fuller profile, wearing the doublet and tights that were thought to have been de rigueur at Elizabethan's court. There is no particular distinction between the images produced for a scholarly audience and a more popular one. For example, the Lady Bird book of the first Queen Elizabeth, designed for young school children, represents Spenser in his manner reading aloud to the Queen and her courtiers. However, as he long been recognized, it is hard to be sure if this image has any reflection in reality. The story of the research for Spenser protests in worth telling, not simply because it is the tale of a problematic image of a major English writer. Allegory in Spenser works. Thus, characters in the Fairy Queen are often used to represent personal virtue or vices. Spenser uses historical allegories to comment on contemporary political issues. Spenser uses political allegories to explore different political ideologies. Conclusion: Edmund Spenser was a highly influential poet of the English Renaissance. His most famous work, The Fairy Queen, is considered a masterpiece of epic poetry and allegory. This is my references. Thank you. You can ask any question.
So my question is, why is Spenser known as poet's poet?
Spenser sometimes calls poets poet because so many later poets learn to have arts and versification from his. Any question?
Maya, is Edmund Spenser a Renaissance poet?
Edmund Spenser, who lived 1552 until 1599, was one of the literary figure of the English Renaissance. Renaissance, a time in time is in which occur major changes, government, science, technology, arts, and culture flourish. Thank you. Respected Dilip sir and all dear students, good afternoon everyone. My name is KUSUM SARAVAIYA. On the last day of presentation, I am going to deal with a topic, University Wits. Here are some important topics which we are going to discuss. So let's start with the University Wits. The University Wits were a group of English playwrights and poets who were active in the late 16th century during the Elizabethan era. Marlowe was known for his wit and his ability to subvert traditional literary conversation, which made him a major figure in the development of English drama. See, there is not any particular leader of that of this group, but with his contribution and with give tragic some tragic dramas, Marlowe is considered as major figure of this group. Marlowe considered as most influential and celebrated member of the group of wits, as I say. So when we are going to deal with university wits, we should know that who coined the term. So here's the answer. The term university wits was coined by the literary historian George Saintsbury to refer a group of writers who were educated at the University of Oxford and Cambridge, who were influential in the development of English drama. Particularly, this all the seven dramatists have mostly focuses on the term of on a genre of drama. So they all are we can consider as best dramatists. Who were the university wits? Christopher Marlowe, Thomas Kidd, George Pillay, John Lilly, Robert Greene, Thomas Lodge, and Nash are the seven university wits. And among them, this Christopher Marlowe and Thomas Nash are the scholars of Cambridge University. Thomas Kidd is the, we can say, exception because he haven't studied in any university. However, he's a student of, he's a member of University Wits. George Pillay, John Lilly, and Thomas Lodge is a student of Oxford University, and the Robert Greene is again I can say that he is exception. He have took degree from both the university, from Cambridge and from Oxford as well. These writers were known for their innovation and experimentation in drama, and their use of blank verse, which was a new form of poetic meter that did not use rhyme. Yes, the quality, or we can say the notable thing, is that the dramatist of these seven dramatists haven't used the rhyme scheme. They used to write in the iambic pentameter. So first one notable writer is John Lilly, a playwright with a prose romance emphasis before writing popular comedies like Compasses and Endymion. Among them, this first work is a romantic novel actually. He introduced prose dialogue into original English comedy for the first time, marking departure from the earlier doggerels and contributing to a new world of expressions. Next one is George Pillay, a dramatist. His notable work like the Arrangement of Paris. This Arrangement of Paris is a quite interesting text in which we can see the hunting of Cupid. So it's quite interesting text. The famous chronicle of King Edward I. This work is deal with a major theme like war. Next one is Robert Greene. Again, I want to mention that the person who have took degree from both the university. See how we can imagine that how intellectual he was. Successful playwright of Elizabethan age, John Lilly, who focused on language and rhetoric. Greene has great skill in crafting characters and situation. When we are going to when we are reading the plays of Robert Greene, we comes to know that he's all the characters like fix in a particular situation. For example, when we are reading his plays like the mystery or the law of human nature. This all the characters are particularly fixed. We can say that this character is making is made for this situation. Thomas Lodge is known for primarily for his romance, not for this plays. Thomas Lodge is mostly focuses on the narrative fiction. So this work, the Wounds of Civil War and a Looking of Glance for London and England, this both we can say that his first works, and he completed with a contribution of Robert Greene. Next one is Thomas Nash, again a very essential writer. Thomas Nash has very limited achievements as a dramatist. He mostly focuses on a long poem instead of short poem. He used to write long poems and fiction works. Somer's Last Will and Testament is an allegorical satire, and if I'm not wrong, it was published in 1600. Thomas Kyd, known for his revenge comedy, The Spanish Tragedy, which followed the model of Senecan tragedy. Kyd was popularized the revenge theme, and sensational dramatic element like blood and ghost. And last but not the least, the Christopher Marlowe, we can say the brand of the novel genre, a talented university scholar with a short but brilliant career. The play Tamburlaine, this four tragedies are considered as best tragedies of Marlowe. These four tragedies like Tamburlaine, Dr. Faustus, The Jew of Malta, Edward II, showcased history, romance, and blank verse, making musical and dignified. This four great tragedies are deal with like one is great with a greed of knowledge, one has a greed of power, one has a greed of money. So we can say this four novels are connected with a theme of greed. Let me conclude the topic here. Plays of these writers often explore the theme of human nature, power, and society. They introduced innovative storytelling technique and a linguistic phrase to the English stage. The university which contributed laid the foundation for the flourish of the English drama in the following centuries, and their influence can be seen in the work of some of the greatest playwrights. I want to mention here that this works of this all the dramatists are not only the notable dramas, but on this on that time, these all the dramas gave voice to the theaters approximately next 50 years. You can learn more by visit this website, and thank you. If you have questions, then let's discuss now.
So, what was the literary style commonly used by the university wits in their works?
Commonly used by university wits, we can consider blank verse. They mostly use write in a blank verse, and as I mentioned in my presentation, that they don't use they haven't used rhyme scheme. They use unrhymed iambic pentameter, mostly iambic pentameter and blank verse. Thank you, Shivangi.
KUSUM, my question is that what genre of literature were the university wits known for contributing to?
Mostly, it's a very clear thing that University West mostly contributed in a term of drama. We can say that they bring a renaissance in a genre of drama. So they mostly contributed in in a genre of drama. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon to all. My name is VALIYA KRISHNA. Today my presentation topic, characteristic of the Restoration Age. Characteristic, French influence, new tendency, realism, formalism, the heroic couplet. Introduction. The period from 16 to 1700 is mentioned as the Restoration Age or the Age of Freedom because the monarchy was restored in England. In the year of 1660, Charles II was brought to the throne, and the restorations of Charles II brought a new era both in life and in literature. The restoration actually replaced the power of the monarchy and Puritan ethos. It broke the power of a parliamentary system under the two parties, Whigs and Tories, and both parties encouraged social stability. French influence. In the literature of the Restoration, we note sudden breaking away from old standards, just as a society broken away from the restraint of Puritanism. Many of the literary men had been driven out of England with Charles and his court, or else had followed their patrons into exile in the day of the Commonwealth. On their return, they announced old ideals and demanded that English poetry and drama should follow the style to which they had become accused accustomed the gaiety of Paris. We read with astonishment in Pepys' diary 1660 to 1669 that he has been to see a play called Midsummer Night's Dream, but that he will never go again to hear Shakespeare, for it is the most insipid, ridiculous play that ever I saw in my life. One has only to consider for a moment the French writer of this period, uh, Pascal, Bousset, Fenelon, Malherbe, uh, Corneille, Racine, Molière, Milton, sons of Bellief, followed with insolation and wind, is a good experience of the will character of the court writers and of the London theatre of 30 years following the Restoration. New tendency. With the final rejection of the Restoration drama, we reach a crisis in the history of our literature. The old Elizabethan spirit, with its patriotism in creative vigor, its love of romance, and the Puritan spirit within a moral earnestness and individualism, we are both things of the past, and at first there was nothing to take their place. Dryden, the greatest writer of the age, voiced a general complaint when he said that in his prose and poetry he was drawing the outlines. Realism. In realism, that is the represent.
Quickly come to conclusion now. History force light still revealing. When the bell rings, you start coming to conclusion.
Conclusion, those were four things: the tendency to vulgar realism in the drama, a general formalism which come from following set rules, the development of the heroic couplets in poetry are the main characteristic of the Restoration literature. This is my reference. Anybody question?
Krishna, my question is, what are the characteristics of restoration poetry?
The characteristic of the restoration poetry is intellectual, formal, realistic, satirical, and written in a heroic couplet of which Raiden is supreme master. Anybody question?
Krishna, my question is that what are the main characteristics of the restoration tragedy?
Restoration tragedy refers to neoclassical rules, making very imitative. Usually, those are very. This tragedy is refers to a Shakespearean plays. There are three types of comedy in popular restoration period. Those three are types of comedies: humor, manner, and intrigue. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, JAYSHRI. Today, I am going to give my presentation on the neoclassical age, reason, writers, and influence. This is my personal information, and this is my table of content. I am going to start with introduction. The neoclassical age spanning from the late 17th to the late 18th century represents a significant period in history marked by a resurgence of classical ideals and a profound intellectual shift. This era, also known as the Age of Reason or the Enlightenment, was characterized by a strong emphasis on reason, rationality, and the pursuit of knowledge. In art, architecture, and literature, Classicism drew inspiration from the classical civilization of Greece and Rome, giving rise to a style marked by simplicity, symmetry, and adherence to classical models. It was a time when prominent authors such as Alexander Pope and Jonathan Swift made notable contributions to literature, leaving a lasting impact on the cultural and intellectual landscape of their age. The neoclassical age, with its commitment to reason and classical aesthetics, played a vital role in shaping the thought and creativity of its time. Reasons for neoclassical age. The neoclassical age, also known as the age of enlightenment, was a cultural and intellectual movement in the 18th century characterized by the enlightenment influence rooted in the enlightenment. It emphasized reason, empiricism, and rejection of traditional authority in favor of individual autonomy. Reaction to Baroque excess. It emerged as a reaction to the elaborate and emotionally charged Baroque style, with a focus on simplicity, order, and rationality. Rediscovery of classical antiquity. Neoclassicism was inspired by the revival of interest in the classical heritage of ancient Greece and Rome, aided by archaeological discoveries. Prominent writers of the neoclassical age. First is Alexander Pope. Everyone knows about him. He contributed in writing satirical and didactic poetry, and his style was employed heroic couplet, precise language, and biting humor. Second is Jonathan Swift. His contribution was known for satirical works such as the Gulliver's Travel. His style was used satire, irony, and humor to address social and political issues. Third one is Samuel Johnson. He contributed in authored a dictionary of the English language and essays. His style was known for controversial and authoritative prose with a careful literary examination. Influence on works. Literature emulated classical Greek and Roman influences, prioritized order, rationality, and clear structure, exercised restraint in language, and avoided emotional excess. Prominent use of satire to critique societal issues. Then art and music drew heavily from a classical art, including mythology and architecture, emphasized order, symmetry, and balance in compositions. Composers like Mozart and Haydn favored clear musical structures, focused on balance and symmetry in a composition. So these are the some famous works in various genres. Novels: Pamela by Samuel Richardson, Clarissa by Samuel Richardson, Tom Jones by Henry Fielding, and Candide by Voltaire. These are the poems: The Rape of Lock by Alexander Pope, The Dunciad by Alexander Pope, Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard by Thomas Gray, and The Seasons by James Thomson. These works were very famous at that time. Then this is the art. The first picture is the Death of Sardanapalus by Eugene Delacroix. The second one is author of the Horati by Jacques Louis David, and third one is architecture, that how neoclassical has influenced the architecture at that time. That neoclassical common characteristics in neoclassical arts: rationality and order, emphasis on reason and structure, then clarity and simplicity, minimal complexity and ornamentation. Then classical themes: inspiration from Greek and Roman mythology and history, morality and virtue, conveying ethical messages, unity and balance, harmonizing elements within the composition, controlled emotion. In that time, this was the theme, that temperance in emotional expression. Then neoclassical hero, portrayal of idealized, morally upright characters. These common features were emblematic of the neoclassical age's commitment to classical ideals, rationality, and moral instruction across various artistic forms. Then impact of the neoclassical age, modern thought. The neoclassical age's emphasis on reason and empiricism continues to influence contemporary intellectual discourse and scientific methods. Then government. Neoclassical ideals of constitutionalism and individual rights shaped modern democratic governments and contributed to the US constitutions. Culture. Neoclassical aesthetics and individualism persist in architecture, art, and literature, leaving a lasting imprint on our cultural heritage. Conclusion. The neoclassical age, spanning the mid 18th to early 19th century, was characterized by its embrace of classical ideals and reason. It had a profound impact on literature, drama, and music, promoting themes of rationality, moral virtue, and classical inspiration. The enduring legacy of the neoclassical age is evident in the continued influence of rationality, constitutional principles, and classical aesthetics on modern thought and government and culture. Its emphasis on clarity, balance, and controlled emotion in artistic expression continues to resonate in contemporary artistic endeavors. The neoclassical age stands as a pivotal era that shaped the foundation of modernity, leaving an inedible mark on our intellectual, political, and cultural landscape. This is my reference, and thank you. Now, if anyone have a question, so please ask.
Jayshri, my question is, how did the neoclassical age impact on art, literature, and intellectual pursuits with the emphasis on classical ideals and reasons?
So, Kusum, my answer is that the neoclassical age impact art, literature, and intellectual pursuits with its emphasis on classical ideals and reasons by the people at that time, what they thought about the things. For example, Alexander Pope's The Rap of the Lock. In that poem, he mentioned the themes like he satirized. Then also there is so many themes that can connected with classical. Anyone else?
Seriously, what is en- en- enli-
Enlightenment.
enlightenment?
So, Krishna, my answer, what is enlightenment? Neoclassical age is also known as a age of enlightenment. Enlightenment means that we start thinking about reality, not we are there. The writers and the poets of that time, they started writing about reality, not about any fictional. For example, like before that time, people were think that like we saw a seed and there is a plant is growing up. They don't know that what's happening. They are saying that yes, it's growing up, but no one is saying that how it's growing. No one is seeing that how the process of the growing of that plant. So this is called enlightenment. Thank you.
So very good afternoon, everyone. My name is Solanki, and today, as a day of last day of our presentation, I am going to deal with Plantagenet, uh, Plantagenet dynasty, a historical overview. This is my personal information, and let's start with the. Okay, so let's start with the Plantagenet, about what is the Plantagenet, and so let's talk about it. So the House of Plantagenet ruled England from 1144 to 1485. It produced 14 English kings. Six of these kings were from the Cadis house of Lancaster and York. The lineage descended from Geoffrey, court of Anjou, and Matilda, daughter of King Henry I. The surname Plantagenet likely originated as a nickname for Geoffrey and has no hereditary basis. So if you will find out that Plantagenet is not any place or anything, but it is a surname of the kings who is start the running this or we can say rule in England. Geoffrey's descendants in England did not have hereditary surname or for over 2050 years. So Geoffrey's nickname, like if we say the surname of Plantagenet start with the England, that starting of the rule of the this period also is here showing that 2050 years is surname is not even hereditary. So next we come to the Plantagenet Empire. As I said, the period is a very long time of period, like 1259 to 1453. This period is starting between Treaty of Paris to the end of 100 years of war. English king claimed dominion over various territory in British isles and continental Europe. Impact on late medieval politics, society, and culture. So this period, mostly impact gives impact on politics, society, and culture. There are these three are the main things in this period. Interdisciplinary approach in collection of essays. Also, there you can find out the four thematic session: empire, dynasty, and identity. Second is the regional responses to empire. Third is networks and communication, and the fourth one is the empire in retrospect and prospect. So there four theme are, we can say, in first theme we can say the identity is most become a very important part of the Plantagenet empire, or we can say the period of time. The network and communication is like here you can find out the modern time is different, and that time of period is very we can say very low time. The everybody is like communication with like face to face, or we can say they like who is the kings are kings are the one who is communicating to their like message, or we can say like they are sending their servant to communication. The exploration of meaning of empire for people in Middle Ages and modern scholarly comparative contents. So here you can find out their Middle Age and modern scholar are comparing the exploration of meaning of the empire of Plantagenet. So next is the Plantagenet dominance. So this is one article. Sorry, we can say article. We can say a lecture is given by the person Peto. Okay, sir. So the lecture is title of Plantagenet and is like defining the the word of Plantagenet. So next is the Henry Planning is the like a second with the England during the Archers. Like he started the early visit of the England, that how the England has to be improved, or we can say how is turned into the biggest platform of here. now we come to the conclusion. I will conclude the everything in the one line that House of Planetary rule of 1154 to 1485 and 14 English kings. The surname Plantagenet is originally nickname for Joffrey. The Plantagenet dynasty ruled over various territories in Britain, Iceland, and continental Europe. There we can find in the slide the Landgrave form governmental unit over the time. So in that lecture, he talk about the main thing of the government. There is a uncertainty about the chronology of Henry II first visit to England. So the main topic of this Plantagenet is about to talk about how Henry is visit England and changing the pace of England. So this is my reference. You can if you want to know about it, then you can uh, uh, click in this link and you can find out the more information about it. Thank you everyone for listening. Now you can ask me questions.
So, Jay, as you mentioned in your presentation that how people communicate with each other, so I want to ask you that how did networks and communication methods of the time play a role in a shaping of shaping the events and outcomes of this period?
As I mentioned in the slide, that communication in and network are is not the basic thing in that period of time, because everybody is not communication with that period, that only kings are if kings saying something or communicating that you have to do that, then everybody the people are doing the same thing that king is saying. And about the network, as I said, that they are sending like servant, or we can say like their any we can say people to send there to communication with in like a paper or something, or other ways also. Okay, next one.
Jay, in what ways did the concept of empire influence the identity and ambitions of English king during this time?
So in like we can find in this period of time in English king are like they are majority, or they are ruled, or we can say they are like if you say influence identity and ambition, that their identity how they are the we can say we can also identify their class, that how they rule over that, and how people of during that time is doing what they are saying. So thank you everyone for listening my presentation.
Close the windows so that there will be better screen the laptop.
Good afternoon or today. Good afternoon all. Today I deal with topic drama in the Elizabethan age. This is my personal information. Table of content. First I'll start with introduction. Brief overview of the Elizabethan age. Elizabethan age is named after the reigning monarch of England at the time, Queen Elizabeth I. The epoch began in the 58 when Queen Elizabeth was extended by throne and ended her death in 6003. Queen Elizabeth was the great patron of the art, extending her patronage to remarkable artists and perform, thus leading to a surge in work art produce. Significance of drama during this period. This Elizabethan era is often referred to as the golden age of English drama. During this period, drama show remarkable flourishing with the work renewed playwright like William Shakespeare, Christopher Marlowe, and Ben Jonson. This playwrights produced the enduring masterpieces that continue to be celebrated today. Historical context. Queen Elizabeth I and her influence on the arts. Her mark on the world ruler of the Golden Age, heroine of the protest caused the Virgin Queen, England's final leader of the Tudor monarchy, can be acclaimed as the one of the most influential ruler. Queen Elizabeth I region flourished in the arts, witnessing birth of the talented William Shakespeare, whom she greatly supported. Social and political climate of the era. The social aspect of the during the Elizabethan age, their merit and demerit. While there were no Feminized and harvest was the bountiful during this period. People also lived extreme poverty due to wide wealth gap among the different social groups. During this region of Queen Elizabeth I, Parliament was not yet strong enough pit itself against royal authority. Origin of drama. As per William J. Long, drama is story retold to the eye, a story into action by living performer who for the moment make believe or imagine themselves to be old heroes. There are three periods of drama: the religious period, the moral period, the artistic period. Religious period. Some as the Greece, Europe also contain the origin of drama in religion. First character were New Testament. First, there were the dramas upon moral relation of the good and evil. The church later divided the play into mysteries and miracle play. Second, the moral period. The period of moral drama came into existence because of the morality play. In these characters were connected with theme of life, death, rep, rep, repentance, goodness, love, greed, and vices. Morality play, the devil and miracle play was introduced morality play. Aesthetic period, the final stage of development of English drama. The chief purpose of this form drama was present human life as it is. Theater, Elizabethan theater, sometimes called English Renaissance. Theater referred to style performance play which blossomed during region of the Elizabeth I of England and which continue under Stuart successors. Elizabethan theater witnessed the first professional actor belonged to during Europe and who performed play of blank verse entering non-religious theme. The Globe Theatre and its importance. The most celebrated playwright and period was William Shakespeare, whose work were performed in the famous Globe Theatre in the London, covered such diverse themes as history, romance, revenge, murder, comedy, and tragedy. Popular themes and subjects. There are love and romance. Elizabeth literature often celebrated broadly love and the complicity romantic relationship, monarchy and politics. Given the central role of Queen Elizabeth, politic themes and glorification monarchy were common. Religion. The religion climate era, including
Conclusion now. You still have 3-4 slides.
conclusion. In conclusion, this era showed flourishing playwrights like William Shakespeare and Christopher Marlowe, leading to the creation of the timeless masterpieces such as Hamlet, Macbeth, Dr. Faustus. This is my reference. Thank you. So, Jay, as you talk about in your slide about the Elizabethan drama, and what role did you theaters like the Globe play in the popularity of Elizabethan drama? In this Elizabeth drama, theater like a central role of the Globe play popularity of Elizabethan as well like as well like audience and other is playwrights in this age to like William Shakespeare work as flourish developing.
So, Jay, as you talk about Elizabethan drama at that time, so I want to know that what is the legacy of Elizabethan drama in modern theatre and literature?
The legacy of Elizabethan drama in modern theatre and literature is like including William Shakespeare work and other like so that. Thank you.
So hello everyone, myself Jatin Varu. Today I'm going with the topic exploring the golden age of English literature in the Elizabethan age. Table of contents. Historical background. The Elizabethan era, which lasted from the 1558 to 1603, was a great period in English history. It was a name after Queen Elizabeth I and was known for its remarkable developments in arts, literature, and exploration. It's often called to a golden age because the amazing works of art written that were created then. Famous playwrights like William Shakespeare, Christopher Marlowe wrote many of their plays during this period. It was a time of great creativity and new ideas, and it's had a big impact of the way people through the express themselves through words. Literary features of the Elizabethan era. The first one is the new classicism. The new passion of a classical learning was a rich and worthy enthusiasm. It became a danger to the language. In all branches of literature, Greek and Latin used the began to force themselves upon English, which was not totally benefit. English language give away native sidelines and allow itself to be tempered and polished by the new influence, the new romanticism. Elizabethan romantic quotes is for the magnificent and the beautiful. Elizabethan age is the first and grateful period of the romanticism. All these kinds of desire were amply fulfilled by this age. The development of drama. Drama had overcome many difficulties in the Elizabethan age. Once was closure of the theaters between the years 1519 to 1593. This problem was solved in 1594 by the licensing the two tribes, development of poetry and prose. Poetic production was the great and originally beautiful, even though it was not popular as a drama. Prose also arose to a position of first-rate importance and was equally a universal application. Adoptions of outcome. During the Elizabethan age, the historical situation encouraged a rich and healthy production of the literature of all kinds. A lot of internet interest was shown in literary subject, theaters, and pamphlets were written freely, uplifting a quality of the literary output. Much abuse of a personal and secular character that were including the literary question become almost a national importance. Important writer of Elizabethan age, William Shakespeare, considered one of the greatest playwright of the all time. Shakespeare wrote a number of plays that explore the themes such as love, tragedy, comedy, and humor. William Shakespeare's famous work is Hamlet. Christopher Marlowe, the contemporary of Shakespeare. Marlowe is known for his plays such as Dr. Faustus and Tribune the Great, which helped shape the Elizabethan theatre. Edmund Spenser, one of the most important poets of the Elizabethan era, Spenser wrote a Furious Queen, an epic poem that celebrate the Tudor destiny and explore them of slavery and virtue. Ben Jonson. After Shakespeare, Jonson emerged as an infallible figure in the drama. Through the quality of work cannot be compared to Shakespeare, it is still merit that requires an in-depth study. Literary genre of era, poetry. Elizabethan poets were known for their lyric and pastoral poetry, which celebrated the beauty of nature and human emotions. Drama. Elizabethan theatre show the birth of professional theatre companies which product plays that explored a wide range of themes from history and politics to tragedy and comedy. Prose. The Elizabethan era was so the embrace of new literary forms such as the essay, traveling, writing, and the novel. Impact on later literature. Influence on romantic moment. The Elizabethan era emphasizes the individualism and experienced the influence the later moments such as a romantic. Shakespeare's influence. Shakespeare's genius as a playwright, poet continued to influence the countless writers and artists throughout the century. Foundation of English literature. The Elizabethan era was a curious period in the development of English literature, towering above all other as a source of inspiration and creativity. In the conclusion, the Elizabethan era was truly a golden age of literature marked by innovation, creativity, and the deep understanding of human experience. Its influence can be felt even to these days. And this legacy will continue to inspire figure of generation or writer, poets, and artists. Here are some references. And thank you for your attention.
My question is, what, in your point of view, is the best work of Elizabeth Age?
You get different answer is upon your personal interest. In my point of view, I suggest Hamlet is a best work of this era.
So, Jatin, as you mentioned about the golden age, so my question is, why is the Elizabethan age considered a golden age of English literature?
Elizabeth is seen as a golden age of English literature because it provides some great writer like William Shakespeare, Christopher Marlowe, Ben Jonson, and their works are continuously influenced the people throughout the centuries. So thank you for your attention.
Access this camera. Stand. Somebody should stand and then do it.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, HEMALI Parmar. Today we delve into Edmund Spenser, poetry, legacy, and critic. Here is my personal information. Introduction to Edmund Spenser. Edmund Spenser, a literary master, painted rich images of knights, fairy realms, and noble maidens with his pen, akin to Easter hymns, illuminating hope and knowledge. His work embodies the timeless fusion of imagery and truth in poetry. Edmund Spenser, born in 1552 or 53 in London, England, was educated at Merchant Taylor's Grammar School and Pembroke Hall, University of Cambridge. Spenser's literary legacy. Spenser's The Shepherd's Calendar is the first English Renaissance work consisting of 12 pastoral dialogues. It explores shepherds' lives and social satire using various verse forms. It received praise for revitalizing English poetry. Spenser, influenced by Virgil, also began working on the Fairy Queen during 1578 to 80, dedicating his work to Sir Philip Sidney. He served Robert Dudley, Earl of Leicester, and became secretary to Lord Grey in Ireland. Overview of the Fairy Queen. In The Fairy Queen, Spenser's epic poem, the intricacies of allegory come to life. The poem, published in 1590, weaves a rich tapestry of characters and events set in a fantastical world. Through its 6 books, the poem explores themes of chivalry, virtue, and heroism, drawing inspiration from classical and medieval literature. The allegorical narrative follows the adventures of knights and damsels, each representing moral virtues and vices. Spenser's work delves into the complexities of human nature, providing a vivid and symbolic portrayal of the virtues and challenges faced by individuals. Samuel Johnson's criticism of the works of Edmund Spenser. In his criticism of Edmund Spenser's works, Samuel Johnson expressed dislike for pastoral themes and Italianate versification. He did, however, appreciate Spenser's early works for their archaic words, valuable for his dictionary. Johnson's dissatisfaction arose from the artificial diction in Spenser's writings, shaping his critical perspective. Despite limited initial comments, Spenser's influence on Johnson's own style was recognized, highlighting the complexity of Johnson's view on Spenser's literary contributions. Conclusion. In conclusion, Edmund Spenser's masterful fusion of imagery and truth in poetry, exemplified in works like The Fairy Queen, continues to captivate readers, while Samuel Johnson critiqued Spenser's style. His influence on language and literature remains undeniable, making him a timeless literary figure. Here is my references. Thank you. If anyone has question, you can ask.
So, my question is, how did Spenser poetry illuminated hope and knowledge mentioned in the introduction?
Spenser's poetry illuminate hope and knowledge by using beautiful language and storytelling. He also painted a vivid picture of a better world. Any other?
Emily, how did Spenser's early work benefit Samuel Johnson?
Spenser's early work influenced Samuel Johnson. Johnson admired Spenser's poetic style and language, which helped him to develop his own writing style and creativity. Thank you. A very good afternoon to everyone, respected sir and friends. Today I am going to deal with characteristic of romantic period literature. These are the points which I discussed today. What is Romanticism in literature? In literature, Romanticism was a literary movement that emphasized nature and the importance of emotion and artistic freedom. In Romanticism, emotion is much more powerful than the rational thoughts. Writers of this era were rebelling against the attempt to explain the world and human nature through the science and the lens of the Industrial Revolution. Beginning of Romanticism in literature, the movement is developed late 18th to early 19th century as it emerged in England and America in the reaction to the age of enlightenment. The Romantic argues that humans should live life to the fullest by pursuing sensation and emotional indulgence because life on the earth is limited. Now, the main point of my presentation, characteristic of romantic literature. First one is nature. In increasing interest in nature and in the natural, primitive, and uncivilized way of life, romantic nature poems are meditative poems on the whose scenes the poet raised an emotional problem or a personal crisis. In the nature, we find that the one important point in romantic literature that poem by Ode to the Autumn by John Keats. In this poem, Keats was implied that the important or the autumn as a symbolize of the ephemeral, and the celebration of the autumn is symbolize the short time of beauty. And the second one is spontaneity and natural genius. Emphasis on the need for spontaneity in thought and action and in the expression of thoughts. Increasing importance attached to the natural genius and the power of the imagination. In the spontaneous overflow and the natural genius, we find that the best example of William Wordsworth's poem, The Daffodils. And the third one is imagination. The imagination in the Romantic period was raised, became the peculiar gift of the poet and man's most important endeavor. Fourth one is emotions, instincts, emotion and the heart rather than a reason, intellect and head are trusted. In the Romantic, expose their own soul and they present their own crisis in the literature. When you read the work of this period in Romantic era, you will find that the feeling described in all forms, like including the romantic and filial love, fear, sorrow, loneliness, and more. In the emotion, we find the best example during the Romantic era. Mary Shelley's famous Frankenstein. In this, we find the character of monster, which deals with the characteristic of emotions. And for fifth one is society, the cult of noble savage in the society. The romantic poets on the whole fled from the city and turned to the nature. For them, it was nature rather than society that was man's proper settings. Men need a help to nature to fulfill her or himself. Religion, there was a shift in religious ideas. Many writers failed to find the Christianity satisfying. There was a search of spiritual reality. Orthodox in Christianity did not all are to supply. End of the Romanticism in literature. As formal literary movement, Romanticism began to give way of other important literary movements like such as Realism, Modernism in the second half, the 19th century, early 19th century. However, the Romanticism never truly ended. Rather, its influence remained throughout literature in art, music, theater, film, and television. Now the conclusion. In conclusion, Romantic period literature is marked by the emphasis on individualism, emotion, nature, and imagination, and it reflects a deep exploration of human experience and the desire for freedom and self-expression in this changing world. These are my works cited, and thank you very much. Now, anyone have question regarding?
So, Divya, according to you, how did nature is the dominant characteristic of the Romantic period?
Okay, according to me, and earlier I discussed that nature is the dominant characteristic we find in this era, Romantic era, and most of the poet or writer, they all are focused on the theme or the characteristic like nature, and we find various example, and they all are used the element and natural elements in their poetry. That's why I consider that the characteristic of nature is the characteristic, dominant characteristic of romantic era. Anyone else?
Divya, as you mentioned that Frankenstein reflect the characteristic of emotions, so how we connect it?
Okay, as I mentioned that Mary Shelley's Frankenstein reflect the characteristic of emotion that we find in the character of monster, that how his self-awareness of feeling and emotions that he face in the whole in the Frankenstein. In the end, we find that the sadness and emotion of sadness and angerness. Thank you very much, everyone.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Myself, ASHA RATHOD. I am going to deal with the topic comparative study of Romantic Age and Victorian Age of paper History of English Literature. So, let's move forward. This is my table of content. First is a comparison between Romantic Age and Victorian Age. Second, emotional versus reality. Then poetry and prose, and poetry comparison. So, as Divya mentioned in the PPT, Romantic Age, first half of the 19th century and 17 says, its period of time is 1770 to 1813, and it's characterized by emotional language and praise of nature. During the Romantic Age, common people start reading Bible, and romantic poets like William Wordsworth, Samuel Coleridge, Robert Southey, Byron, Shelley. Then it's some quote of William Wordsworth. Then Victorian Age. Victorian Age came in existence during the religion of Queen Victoria. The period of time is 1837 to 1901. Victorian Age, rather than praising nature, they talk about social concerns such as poverty. But in Romantic Age and Victorian Age, some similarity between both as a reaction to cultural changes. And when Victoria came on throne in 1837, we found son of English literature fan of after Coleridge, Shelley, and Byron and Scott. And William J. Long, in his book, mentioned one quote of William Wordsworth written in 1835, which talks about emptiness in literature in beginning of Victorian period. So first, comparison between Romantic Age and Victorian, and use of language in Romantic literature. It's emotional expressive. It often use such word like oh, alas. Then Victorian poets writer is not using such word. He using modern expression and language. It's comparison between Romantic as Victorian as quote. We can see quote that John Keats use away away. uh, the Romantic age and different between Victorian age. And then emotional versus reality. We can see in Romantic as emotional use, and Victorian is not use emotional, but he shows reality. Romantic writers are known for the emotional outbursts, as like William Wordsworth given this poetry definition, the spontaneous overflow of powerful feeling. And Victorian age, we can see in Brownie's poem, My Last Duchess, and Jude the Oscar. Then poetry and prose. We found romantic as reflected the glory of poverty. We found in the poetry of Scott, Wordsworth, Coleridge, Byron, Shelley, Keats, Moore, and Southey. Southey and Coleridge have wrote prose more than poetry because he earned money by writing prose. Victorian era mainly known as age of prose. This is a poetry comparison that some are both compare. This is my reference, and thank you. Now I am open for the question.
Asha, can you name a few of the Victorian works that focus on the theme of work and its societal implications?
Victorian works like we can see in Victorian age, major poet is Charles Dickens, High Times, David Copperfield, and Elizabethan Gaskell work is North and South.
Asha, my question is that are there any similarities between Romantic age and Victorian age?
Yes, there are some similarity between Romantic age and Victorian age. As I mentioned in my PPT also, that Romantic as a use of a first person narrative we can found in some Victorian literature, and both as are comes from existent of culture and revolution, and they even though they both have they shared common themes and concern. Thank you.
Camera frozen.
So camera start in StreamYard. You have to stop and start camera. Stop camera. Start. No, camera. Stop and start.
Now can stop.
Then start. No, camera setting you'll have to do, not game.
It's not coming.
Settings, camera settings.
Okay.
Settings. Change this camera. Lenovo.
It's Sony.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Is visible also?
Now. Okay, so fifth day, we have ended our first season of presentations, and if we overview that where do you stand, then we can say that in this group nobody stands at A level in this, but we have in B level there are group of students like KUSUM, JAYSHRI, HEMALI, ASHA, and Jai Solanki. You are at second level of because I am seeing from the angle of all the three groups of presenters. Within your group, you have done well in this group. KUSUM, JAYSHRI, HEMALI, ASHA, and Jai Solanki. They have done quite well. Thereafter is JATIN and DIVYA. Their performance comes after that. And then the people who need to work a lot and improve a lot is VISHVA, SHIVANGEE, Jai, MARUNIYA. They have to do. And below there is Maya and KRISHNA, who has to still work on pronunciations, proper word also there. So this is the hierarchy of your performance. And within this group, good performance by these students, KUSUM, JAYSHRI, HEMALI, ASHA, and Jai Solanki. After that, JATIN and DIVYA. After that, Jai, MARUNIYA, VISHVA, SHIVANGEE, and then Maya and KRISHNA. That comes there. If I give you the list of morning also, then Yashraj performed very well, A plus performance. Then A level performance was Unnati, Trupti, Riya, and Pallavi. The others were then with B group and other things also. Third group we will see and we will rate them this. And in WhatsApp message I will send the rating of how you all have performed in a comparative way of all the three groups also. Okay, so with this we end our session here and call everybody. Let us have